Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at new releases for February 2023, things that I've had my eye on, things that have been tempting me to purchase. We're going to go over what's new, what I'm interested in, and maybe what I'm not interested in. Of course, this year I am on a controlled buy with a beauty budget. I will link my buys and buys and my beauty budget videos up in the eye and down below. But let's go ahead and look at what's new in the makeup space, and we'll see how I can talk myself and maybe talk you out of some of these purchases. So I am reading off of Trend Mood 1. I will have her Instagram account linked down below, and I'll also pop up pictures, which let me see if I can scoot over a little bit or change my camera angle so that we can pop up some pictures. All right, hopefully we have a little bit more room up on this side for me to post some pictures, but let's go ahead and look at looks like Fenty released some like special edition or some products for and around the Super Bowl with a football theme. Of course, Rihanna did do the halftime show for the Super Bowl. This is not something that I'm necessarily interested in. There was some lip products, and also I know she had like a sponge in the shape of a football, things like that. It's all very cute, but right now I'm not interested in any liquid lipsticks. It looks like this trend is kind of coming back in. But again, I'm not interested in something like that. I don't necessarily need long wear lip products, and I really don't like that dry down feel on my lips. So really, this is an easy pass. Bobbi Brown came out with some new like tri-colored blushes slash highlighters, and these kind of made me do a double take. The colors are beautiful. I know a lot of people don't like multicolored products because you don't necessarily get the same color every time you do an application, but these actually remind me of Wet n Wild. I don't know if they still have it, but they have in the very big pans. It's like the catwalk shade or something like that. That is very similar to these, that has stripes of like blush colors and highlight colors. So I feel like if this is something that you're really interested in, I think the drugstore does have things like this available. But again, this did make me do a double take, but really I do not need to be bringing any more blushes into my collection. We talked about these last month, I believe, but Charlotte Tilbury finally released the matte colors of the blushes in her wand style. Again, I have some other liquid and cream blushes that I really need to go through. I don't feel like you need this price point for a liquid blush for it to work. But again, if you are hardcore into Charlotte Tilbury products, I don't doubt that people will enjoy this formula. As I just said that I don't need blushes, this is also tempting me. So M Cosmetics came out with 3 new shades of their like cream blushes in the stick form, and I do not own anything from M Cosmetics. It is a brand that I'm kind of interested in, and these shades are beautiful. I've heard a lot of good things about the blush formula from M Cosmetics, both in the cream and the powder formula. So this might be something that I would be interested in down the line. Not right now. Again, I have some other cream blushes that I'm trying to get through, but these colors are absolutely gorgeous. Again, with Charlotte Tilbury, she came out with 2 more shades of her single shadows. I know a lot of people that are collectors of Charlotte Tilbury, like holiday palettes, were kind of disappointed in these. I know Lauren Made Beauty did a dedicated video to these, and she really loves the formula. She really loves that like PC sparkly shade in her eye looks, and so this is a perfect product for her. They did come out with a Pillow Talk shade, of course, and then also a purple color. Now, the purple color is gorgeous, but of course, I have a lot of purple shades. It's my favorite color to wear, so I don't feel like I need to spend $34 on a single shade. We're going to skip over the phallic lipsticks because I feel like those have been talked to death, so we're just going to gloss over those. Garnier came out with a new formula for their micellar water that has like a BHA formula to it, And I don't know if this is necessarily their answer to like the popularity of the Paula's Choice formula, but for me, when I use a micellar water, after I've done my double cleanse, if I have any stubborn eye makeup that I need to get off, that's what I use a micellar water for. So something that has an exfoliating acid in it is not something necessarily that I want to, rub on my eyes. So this might be a good product for somebody who is looking for a formula that is less expensive than the Paula's Choice one, but I'm going to stick to a regular micellar water to use around my eyeballs. Oh, the Petri dish products. So Revolution came out with two of the, because it was Huda Beauty who put the kind of Petri dish where it was like a clear balm with pigment balls in it that when you would kind of rub your finger through it, the pigment would come through, but you would still have this glossy look. Huda Beauty did it first in her palettes. Well, Revolution has come out with full pans of it. And again, it looks straight up like Petri dishes. I'm not sure who this is for to be able to put all over the face. I'm oily, so I don't really like having sticky, tacky products on my face. Plus, with how much I have to powder down, I would worry that this product would pick up my makeup. So this is not something for me. It looks like color correcting is back in fashion. I know a few years ago everybody was color correcting because everybody was also doing a lot of the contouring and a lot of like mapping out your face and then blending everything together. So it looks like is this Givenchy has come out with concealers and they've added color correctors in there as well. And I know, well, I know it will be further on in our update here, but also Tarte has come out with color correctors. And I know last month we talked about the e.l.f. ones. So really, if you are wanting to get a color corrector, I would think spending $6 on a color corrector rather than the 25 to 30 something dollar for a high-end one, you would probably get the same result. So we have some luxury brands coming out with some complexion products. We have Gucci coming out with a foundation. I know Valentino's coming out with a concealer. And I think Givenchy is also coming out with another foundation or another complexion product above and beyond their new concealer. As much as I could save my beauty budget to purchase a luxury item, I just feel that I could spend my money in different ways instead of purchasing. How much is the Gucci foundation? Do they say $67? So I could get two high-end foundations for the price of one Gucci. And I could get 5 drugstore foundations for the price of one Gucci. So while I'm sure they have beautiful formulas, and I know a lot of people rave about these luxury brands because I think that at their price point, if they were pumping out horrible products, people would have a real big problem with that. But I just feel like that's not a wise choice for my beauty budget. So all of the luxury complexion products I will be able to skip over. Makeup Forever has reformulated their powder foundation, and actually let me pop up and grab mine out of my purse. So I recently purchased a pom-pom bag. Let me take my AirPods off of here so it doesn't swing around. But I recently went from a larger bag to this pom-pom bag. So if you guys would want a review of this bag, or if you would like a review of kind of what I put in my purse, let me know. But I do have the old formulation of the Makeup Forever powder. Let me put my purse down. So I bought this a couple years ago, and I exclusively keep this in my purse because it really is a high coverage powder. So if my makeup breaks down on me, if I have to touch up, then this is what I'm reaching for, and it does the job. Now I wear R220, and this is just, my sponge is dirty, but this is the powder here. I should probably work on using this and panning it, but again, it's so good as a purse powder for touch-ups that I'm okay with just kind of using it as I need it. But It sounds like they reformulated the powder a little bit and then they put it in packaging where the outside packaging matches the color that's on the inside. Which, again, I mean, that's kind of what they've done with their foundation as they rebooted it. The caps match the color of the foundation. So I get it, but I don't know necessarily what the product difference is. I mean, obviously, I'm not in need of a new one, but again, if I end up going through this or it goes bad, I would happily repurchase this product and hope that the new formula, is as good as this one. So Tower 28 came out with their soft cream matte contours and bronzers. Now, Tower 28 is on my radar to want to try this year. So I don't know if it would be good to actually purchase a cream bronzer since I do have some that I'm trying to use up, but drop down below what your favorite Tower 28 product is. I'm thinking about either trying the mascara or trying one of their like lip jellies, but I'm interested in trying the brand this year. So tell me what your favorite is down below and I'll see if I'll pick it up. More cream bronzers. So Milk Makeup finally extended their range. They used to only have 2 colors of their cream bronzers, and it looks like they now have extended it to 4 colors. It actually does go from quite fair to very, very dark. Now these they're calling these contours, and these are different colors. And I believe I saw another post where they're also expanding the bronzer beyond the contours. I'll have to check on that and maybe post something up if I also see that they've expanded their bronzer range, but I am super excited. Now, what I don't like is that they've gone exclusively to the minis. And I think the minis used to be $18 and now they are selling the minis for $24. So I've panned a mini in the past and I think it maybe took me 3 or 4 months to go through that. For the price of the like Soul Body Bronzer Balm, which takes me 170 to 180 uses to use up for $15 versus 3 months worth of use for the Milk Makeup ones. I mean, I like the formula. I'd be willing to try it again in the future if it was maybe in a kit that made it worth my while to purchase it, but this is not necessarily something that I'm going to just run out and buy because now they have new shades. Ooh, this palette. So this is on my radar. This is the Cosmic Brushes Muse palette. Now, the photography for this palette is very dark and romantic, and it makes me worried about how dark the shades would be, but the color story of this is absolutely beautiful. I actually did go on to the Cosmic Brush site. They are sold out right now, but I did put in my information for them to notify me whenever this palette comes back in stock because I am seriously considering picking this up. This palette is $22, which is an absolute steal for the quality that I've heard about these palettes. And just this color story is so romantic and kind of like fantasy garden kind of party kind of, it's beautiful. It is a bigger palette, which is not my first pick, but again, this is just absolutely beautiful. It is a UK based company, so I would have to pay for shipping, but I am totally okay with that because this looks absolutely stunning. Glamlite continues to do their collabs, and they collabed with Chucky for Valentine's Day to come out with a collection. Horror movies terrify me, and I don't know what it is. My husband loves horror movies, and I actually send him by himself to go watch them in the theaters, or I'll go see a different movie by myself if we want to have an afternoon out together, but I refuse to watch these movies. I don't know if I was traumatized as a child. I know I had like a girls' sleepover and we watched Pet Sematary, and I think I was traumatized since then. But this is just not up my alley. Number one, for the intellectual property, but also the color story is very dark, and that's just not my thing. I would like to try a Glamlite palette down the road because I just hear wonderful things about their formula. but I haven't seen a palette yet that, number one, hits the right nostalgia, but also that the color story, I don't feel like I have it in my collection that I would need to purchase it from them. So Haus Labs is another brand that's kind of on my radar. Their foundation intrigued me, but I've heard a couple people use it that have similar skin tone, or not skin tone, but skin type to me, and they haven't been thrilled with the longevity of the wear. I work 10-hour days. I need a foundation to last at least through the 10-hour workday. But Haus Labs is coming out with blushes, and these are gorgeous. The shade that kind of has my heart is the Hibiscus Haze. But all of these just look beautiful. The packaging, the photography on them, everything just looks great. Let me see how much these are. These are going to be $38 each. 38 is kind of steep for a blush, but I seem to be a little bit of a stickler a couple different ways. Like, I will have drugstore foundations and drugstore bronzers, but my blushes, I want my blushes to be high end. I have a lot of high end palettes. So I kind of like, there's certain categories where I don't kind of lean into drugstore makeup, and blush is one of them. Now, maybe if I use up my Tarte blush that's in my project pan, I can reward myself with a new one. We shall see. I'd love to see these in store. I don't know if any of the Sephoras around me carry Haus Labs. I'm going to have to look on the website. Being in the area that I am, our Sephoras don't really, they're kind of smaller. They don't have a lot of products in them or different brands, but I would really love to see these in store. LYS has also been a brand that's been a little bit on my radar, but I tried a sample of their foundation and it's just not right for my skin type. So there's other things I would consider once I finish my number 7 powder. I would consider picking up the pressed powder from LYS. I heard wonderful things about it, so I would use it to set my under eyes. And again, they're a little bit more of an affordable brand from Sephora, but they came out with eyeshadow palettes. And I will agree with everyone else out there who has been talking about these that the shape of them is no. I know M Cosmetics has like the hexagonal eyeshadow palettes with like the pizza shaped kind of pans in them, but this one, I just feel like the way that a true makeup collector, people that have multiple items in their collection, if this comes in, it won't fit. Like, it won't fit into the storage. It won't fit where you need it to be. The color story looks a little bit discombobulated. I don't feel like this was the right way for them to go. If they would have, if you put two triangles together, you get a little bit of a rectangle, and they could have done something cool with the pans then, but I think using the same packaging, and especially if this is the same size as a lot of their powders, I mean, it's only $25, but still, I feel like if you can get a Natasha Denona mini for $27, I'm going to go with that over this. Armani has blushes. Again, they're beautiful. I think I'm more drawn to the Haus Labs one than these. These just look a little bit washed out. And I don't necessarily want to look washed out, even though, my God, these lights wash me out. But I don't want to look washed out in person. So I think I can easily skip over these, especially because Armani, these are going to be, they don't even have the price. And so this is almost one of those things that if you have to ask, you can't afford it. So we'll be skipping over these. Huda Beauty's coming out with some new 9 pans, and these are all matte. I think kind of matte look is coming back, but I am such a fan of a shimmery eye look and a shimmery lid. So the warm tone one, I feel like I have those shadows in my collection already. I love warm tones, so I feel like I already have those. The cool tone one is very, very interesting, and it kind of draws me in because it is pinky mauve. But again, I feel like it would be ashy. And I say that with as much love for Huda's formula because I do love my Mercury Retrograde palette, but even some of Natasha Denona's palettes that are more cool tone, more kind of pastel-y, they turn ashy, even on my skin tone. So I think that these are going to be easy for me to pass on too. I'll quickly touch on this because, again, I just don't feel like I'm at the spot for luxury makeup. But Guerlain is coming out with another collection that has this beautiful print on it. And I will say the packaging is beautiful. The palette, I don't understand. I don't know enough about their lipstick formula to talk to as far as is it worth it? Because how much is, again, they don't say the price. So again, if you have to ask, you can't afford it apparently. I do know with a lot of their lipsticks, they do sell like different packaging, so you can actually switch out your lids with your packaging to kind of match an outfit or match a season. So that is very neat. But again, this is not something that I necessarily need to bring into my collection right now. Glow Recipe has a Strawberry BHA Pore Smoothing Blur Drops. I'm interested to see what the texture of this is going to be, if it's going to be kind of like a silicone pore filling with just that BHA additive to it. Um, I feel like this is not going to be something that I need. I also have a little bit of sensitivity to strawberry items. I know that when I had the NYX Strawberry Flex, the lip gloss juice, this is juice gloss, that I had a reaction to it. I can eat strawberries, but if I eat too much, I end up having like a reaction in my mouth and in my throat. I carry an EpiPen with me too. I'm allergic to freaking everything. But I just feel like if I had skincare that overly had concentrations of certain products and food like extracts that I am sensitive to, I just feel like this is going to have to be a hard pass for me. I'm not willing to spend Glow Recipe prices to cause a major reaction on my skin. ColourPop has their Snow White collection. It is adorable, but again, the colors are not necessarily something that I would need to bring into my collection. There's like a dark blue and a black in there, and it's very on par for the movie and for just the color range of Snow White, but it's not necessarily something that I need to bring into my collection. Even though a lot of things are very nostalgic for me, I think that I'm at the point with my eyeshadow collection that I don't necessarily want to bring in too much that is merch. And so I have been very, very thoughtful about my purchases from ColourPop. Even though I love Disney, I love the classics. I was just watching a couple of the classics the other night. This is something that I can easily pass over just because of the color story. Cali Ray is coming out with highlighters. I love the pinky one. I have more of a pinky complexion, so that one is very intriguing. I don't need highlighters at all. I have probably 7 years of highlighters right now in my collection, but these do look beautiful. Cali Ray is another one, another brand that's kind of on my radar. I do have the mascara that I'm going to open next, and I'm going to try that to see what I think. But overall, I do feel like I can pass on this, but if all of my highlighters disappeared tomorrow, this would be a formula that I would be interested in trying out. Urban Decay and their mini palettes. So they collabed with Smiley, which I is that just the smiley face? Like, is the smiley face like trademarked, or is that a person, an entity? I have no idea. But it has the classic smiley face designs on it, and it comes in two different color ways. Now, I'm trying to think if they would have taken these shades and made a big naked palette, would this have sold better versus these two minis? Neither one of the color stories really speak to me. Of course, I like the purple one, but again, I feel like I have shades like that in my collection already, and I don't necessarily need to go out and buy this. And quite frankly, this might sound a little bit, I don't even know what the word would be, but I don't like the packaging. I mean, tie-dye is fun, but it's not really necessarily my thing. So the the packaging throws me off a little bit. So I'm gonna end up passing on these. But again, I do like the format of the like bigger regular size naked palettes, and so if they come out with a color story, hint hint, maybe a green one, it would be very, very easy for me to pick one of those up. This MAC collection. So I don't own anything by MAC. I've purchased the Fix Plus a couple times, which I do enjoy that setting spray or that fixing spray, but I've not tried any other products from MAC. And I feel like this collection could have been so much more than it is. Um, the lipsticks are very, very pretty. I don't need any more lipsticks, so I can pass over those, even though the packaging is gorgeous. The highlighter looks like it would be too dark for my skin tone. The split pan bronzer blush thing actually does look very, very pretty, but again, not necessarily something. But the eyeshadow palette, I feel like they missed the mark on the eyeshadow palette. This eyeshadow palette reminds me more of like frosty winter vibes rather than vibrant spring vibes. And if you look at the cover of the packaging and you have those vibrant blues and pinks and oranges, and then you get in the palette and it's pastels, frosty pastels. I just don't understand what direction they were going in. So this is going to be a pass for me. This will not be my first MAC eyeshadow palette that I try out until MAC really brings something that I haven't seen before or makes me go, wow, I'm inspired. I'm going to pass over this. Catrice has a collab with My Little Pony, and looking at the palette, I almost thought this was Persona. This palette looks like the same exact packaging that Persona has for the Identity palettes. So take that how it is, but again, I'm going to skip over everything. I don't need something this colorful. Even though if you were interested in the Urban Decay palettes, this palette kind of has a lot of the shades combined into one palette, probably for a lot cheaper too. I can't speak to the quality, of course. Catrice is a very affordable brand, but if you were looking at the Urban Decay palettes, maybe try this one out, see what you think. So the Pixi SPF 50 Mist. So Pixi used to have a spray sunscreen, but it was in a pump spray. This looks more like an aerosol, which is probably a better packaging. I had the Pixi Mist because when I used to work in the office, we would get out of the office and go walking around the property. And of course, it was the middle of the day, summer, it's hot. And so I would want to put a little bit of SPF on before I went out walking. Well, it left white globs all over my face. Horrible. So this is something that I feel like is going to maybe fix that problem. Again, I worry about a sunscreen over makeup and it being greasy when I'm already oily. I feel like this is going to be a makeup melter. But if you are just looking for a quick touch up, or if you have dry skin, I'm going to be really interested to see who tries this out and who actually likes this for over makeup for reapplying their sunscreen. I will touch on this very quickly. Wet n Wild has a Sesame Street collection, and again, I think they're trying to get us with the nostalgia, and I'm of the right generation, but I didn't watch Sesame Street whenever I was younger. So this is not something that like pulls at my heartstrings or makes me think of a childhood memory. To me, this just feels like people are going to buy it for the packaging, not like the product, and it's going to end up in a landfill within 6 months. That's kind of how I feel about some of these like turning out of these collabs where the product is not necessarily something that somebody would be like, oh, I want to pull that out every day and use it. I could be wrong. Wet n Wild does have some good products, but I just feel like some of these collabs, that's not the case. I want to ask this question. So Supergoop has come out with a unseen sunscreen for the body. They also have a bigger tube of the glow screen for the body. And my question is, a lot of times these sunscreens that say that they're for the body are bigger tubes, but for about the same price or less. And I'm wondering, what is the difference? So if I buy the unseen sunscreen for the body and use it on my face, is it going to be horrible for my face? Because it's all skin. Now, is it more likely to clog pores because of ingredients? I don't know. But I don't see how they have a different sunscreen or formulation for the body, and they sell it in a bigger tube for cheaper, but expect us to pay more because it says face on it. I would be interested in somebody who knows more about ingredients than me to compare the actual formulas of these sunscreens. So, two more things, and then we'll wrap it up. There's this little device apparently that can print temporary tattoos on you. Now, of course, it's a handheld device. The tattoos look like you're only getting something about, that big. So I am somebody, I have tattoos. I am kind of covered in them from parts that you can't see. But I, I don't understand why we need this. I mean, what I think is cool is some of those brands that they actually send you like bigger temporary tattoos and you can put them on and they last a couple weeks. I was actually thinking about seeing if I was able to upload a design to them and have them print it for me. There is another tattoo that I would like to get on the back of my arm, but if I can get a temporary one that lasts 2 weeks just to see what it would look like and see if I like it before I get the actual tattoo, I think that's neat. But this where it's just going to print a small butterfly on you, I don't understand why we need this. But hey, technology is moving forward. Somebody had an idea and they made it come to life. Maybe this is going to be another application that we can use in the future. So I'm not hating on the technology, the idea, but I'm just asking, who needs this right now? I'll leave it there. And then the last thing that just got posted was looks like a concealer by MAC. It is a Studio Fix Everywhere All Over Face Pen. So it looks like some sort of, it's a coverage product and it's in a pen design. So the packaging actually looks kind of neat. It's like a click up that has like a small brush tip at the end. And so again, we worry about that with hygiene and putting it on, if you're covering a pimple and then that you're not cleaning the brush, but that gets bacteria on it. I know we put, concealer doe foots back in tubes all the time, here nor there. But this does look like an interesting way to deliver a pinpointed application of a product to your face. So neat design. I don't know if we've seen something like this before. A MAC concealer would be something that I might want to try in the future. I know that they have really good complexion products, but for right now, this is not something that I necessarily need. But again, innovative design, I'll give them 10 out of 10 for that. So that was a lot of things that we went over and a lot of things that I feel like I don't need in my life. But to kind of like recap, the Muse palette by Cosmic Brushes, yes, I will be purchasing that whenever that comes back into stock. The Haus Labs blush, I would be interested in seeing them in stores to see if I want to bring one of those in. Again, drop down below what your favorite Tower 28 product is so I can kind of look at that. I think that if I can use up some of the cream blushes in my collection, I would be interested in looking at the different colors from M Cosmetics. But if anything that came out this month jumps out to you and you're interested in it, or you've tried it and you said that it is a new holy grail, you love it, drop it down below, let me know. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in my next one. I love seeing all the products that come out over the months and just kind of like giving my feedback and also, again, talking myself out of purchasing them. So make sure to subscribe, give me a big old thumbs up, all the things, and I will catch you guys in my next one, which will be my Project Pan update for March 5th. How did February already run through? I have no idea, but I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you next time.